up? It's Katie. Welcome to Katie's Kitchen. And today we're going to make some fresh baked pita bread as well as some falafel. And it's a pretty easy recipe. It just takes a little extra time when you do the baking. It's not really hard work at all. It's just a little bit of patience, letting it rise a couple times, and then forming it into the flattened disc and letting that rest for a little while. And that is definitely the key. The trick is to let it rest once you roll it out into the disc shape. The longer it rests, the more of a chance that you're going to get a pocket inside of the pita. This recipe was adapted from one of Sweet Simple Vegan's blog posts that I found, and it's delicious, and you're gonna be so impressed by how easy and how yummy it is. And then I also made some falafel. I actually put cilantro in it because I didn't have the parsley, but parsley I think is just more authentic, and definitely next time I'm gonna look to do it with the parsley. Enjoy the video, and I'm working on something else today that I'm really excited about, so I'm going to be trying to make a video again as soon as possible. And thank you for checking out my video. It's a really new channel, and so far so good. I'm learning about editing video. I'm learning about how to film the recipes, and just really having the courage to just put it out there. There's like a lot to learn being in YouTube land, but it's just something I keep wanting to pursue. And also it just feels fun to share my journey. It's only been about 6 weeks that I'm eating whole food, plant-based, and actually I've done it before and then went back to doing like a low carb lifestyle, and in the past couple years of eating that way, I have really gotten my blood sugar up pretty high, and it's really motivated me to try something different. And so I've done a lot of research, and this is my path. My path is to try the whole foods, a plant-based diet, and what I have found that feels really good is that this eating is a lot more in alignment with my values, because I love animals so much. I have 2 dogs right now, and they are literally like my babies. And I don't have any children, but my dogs are like my babies. And so I didn't really grow up with animals because I had 7 siblings, and it was enough. But as an adult, I adopted a couple of cats at first, and it just completely changed my life. The emotional comfort that I got, the companionship, the sense of safety, was something I hadn't expected, and it really transformed me over time. Because I grew up with both my parents kind of like rejecting animals. They had both had bad experiences. My father had gotten bit a couple of times when he was young, and my mother had a bad experience with cats. It's a little bit funny, but it's also sad. And so like one hated cats and one hated dogs, and there were so many of us children, and I just grew up not comfortable with animals. And so it wasn't until I was older that I was able to let my guard down and allow the animals to transform my life, and they really have. And once I understood the innocence and the beauty of my domestic animals, I started to see it in all the creatures. Like I'd see a cow, and I'd see a pig, I'd see anything. I'd see a duck, and I would see the innocence and the beauty in them. I did still keep eating them, and I had to work through some stuff around that. But now that I'm not eating animals and animal products, and it is for health reasons, that motivated me, I'm starting to just feel like at ease, that all of my actions and my alignment, is that my values are kind of feeling like much more congruent. So, I've heard other people say that too, and that's where I'm at right now in this journey. I'm feeling great. You didn't see me before, but I'm losing weight. I'm starting to feel more active. My breathing had really suffered this last year, and I'd become pretty sedentary. And so I'm just starting to breathe better and do more. I'm also doing a Kundalini yoga practice most mornings. And once I got a blood test about 6 weeks ago, and when I saw my blood sugar and how high it had become, I got really, truly motivated, inspired to make the changes, that were necessary. So, I want to say too, just because a person's overweight, it doesn't mean they're not trying. It doesn't mean that they're lazy or they're or stupid. I think that in this culture it's very confusing, and especially as we age, and I know some young people too who have suffered with their health, but I just turned 46, and my body's changing, my metabolism's changing. Habits I've had for years, they catch up with you, and then you have to go through a process, and there's a lot of conflicting nutrition information out there, and I don't judge anybody for their choices. I have my opinions, but I try not to take any judgment and involve judgment in my process, because I've actually studied health and healing for many years. I'm a massage therapist for 20 years. I studied nutrition in massage school, and over time, there's influences and there's times and seasons in your life, and you try new things, and you get tired, you get burnt out, and this past year, 2 years, was like the first time in my life that I felt truly limited because I had developed some kind of asthma or something. So I got more and more sedentary, and I think the more sedentary I became, the habits over years, started to catch up with me, along with, perimenopausal changes. So anyway, I mean, I know you younger people can't identify with that yet, but for the women that are my age, and even the men, as we age, things do start to change. But, my encouragement is to not judge yourself and not judge others. Do your best and always keep trying, and be open to try new things. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this video today, and I'm doing my best to keep learning how to film them better and edit them better, and with good intentions, I will get really good at this. Okay guys, talk to you later. Alright guys, let's get ready to make some pita bread. It's a super easy recipe. Just going to take a little time. We're going to start with 1 cup of hot water. You can use like hot tap water, definitely not boiling water, around 100, 110 degrees. Just about hot enough that you could just put your finger in it and it's still tolerable. We're going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. If you have bread flour, that works good too. This is organic Arrowhead Mills flour. I also really like the King Arthur flour. Or if you could find some einkorn, that's also a great flour to work with. We're then going to add a packet of yeast and stir that all up together with a tablespoon of sugar. So we're going to get this all combined and then let it sit and let the yeast start to work for about 10 minutes. Okay, now that we've got all that combined and rested for 10 minutes, we're going to add the rest of the flour and the salt and the olive oil. And we're going to work that all together And then as soon as it starts to come together, we're going to turn it out onto our counter or onto our board, and we're going to knead it. Now I did the hand kneading. Of course you could do all of this in your mixer, and you would just know, I think it's just about 5 minutes that you would mix it in the mixer. When I do it by hand, I think it's going to be 8 maybe to 10 minutes of kneading. I don't mind it. I enjoy kneading, but you're just going to keep working it until it gets smoother and more elastic. And you're going to know by the texture. And once it all comes together, you can see how the texture is changing as I work it. You're just going to keep on getting those glutens to form. And then you're going to put it in a bowl and oil it and cover it with a towel and let it rest for about an hour. We want it to double in size. I like to put mine in the oven with the pilot light on, so it's a more controlled temperature. So now after it's doubled in size, we're going to cut it into 8 equal pieces. As you can see here, I kind of just made it into a circle and cut it like a pizza into 8 shapes that were equally formed. You could also just roll it into a log and cut it like that. Make sure your board is floured, and once you have them cut equally as possible, then you're going to form those into balls. Okay, so once you have the 8 equally formed balls, we are going to take a piece of saran and put some olive oil on it. Spread that around and flip it over, and this is just going to keep the plastic from sticking, but at the same time, prevent it from, just protect it and keep it from drying out. And once you have that ready, you can go ahead and work on your falafel. Now this recipe was adapted from the Minimalist Baker. It's made with canned or already cooked chickpeas. And we're going to start with 4 cloves of garlic. And now we're going to use half an onion or 2 shallots. The original recipe called for shallots, and this is what I had. So I always like to substitute things when needed. And here I have the cilantro. As I said earlier, the parsley is definitely better, and to my taste buds. I'm going to add the 15 ounces of chickpeas. These I had cooked myself, but a can is perfect. 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. Pinch of salt or half a teaspoon of salt. Some pepper, I like freshly ground pepper. In this I have a combination of coriander and cumin. You want the taste to be bold, so don't be afraid of using your spices. And then we're going to mix it all up in the food processor. Okay, so you're just going to process it until it's fully combined, not totally smooth. You want a little bit of chunkiness in there. And you're going to add the flour as you go. What you really want is for it to be not too wet. So use, from 3 to 4, maybe 5 tablespoons of flour as you go. Okay, so just keep checking it and re-seasoning it, and when you're ready, just going to dump it into a bowl. And if you need to add more flour, taste it, see if you need more seasonings. You want the flavors to be pretty bold, because that's what falafel is like. And then you're going to put it in the refrigerator and chill it for about an hour or so it really gets firm, because you're going to form this into discs that are going to pan fry. So back to our pita. We're going to roll each piece out into a disc shape. And of course we've let this rest for another hour. And we're just going to do all 8 pieces here. And we're going to leave them rolled out and let them sit, not stacked up in each other. You need a little space here. You're going to let them sit for about 30 minutes or so. The longer you let these sit, the more opportunity you're going to have to get a nice pocket inside of each pita. And this was the most success I've ever had with the pita recipe. Okay, so now we're ready with our hot griddle, our hot pan here. I'm just going to brush it lightly with some oil. I use coconut oil. And I'm going to put one disc at a time onto the pan and let it grill for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's going to puff up really beautifully. Once 2 or 3 minutes passes, I'm just going to flip it over, and it came out so awesome. You're going to grill for 2 more minutes on the other side. We're going to do this obviously for all 8 pieces, and then we're going to move on to cook our falafel. For the falafel, you're going to put about 2 tablespoons of oil. I used a coconut oil again. And you don't want to crowd the pan too much. And once you fill up your pan, you're just going to let those brown for a couple of minutes. And when you notice that they're golden brown, it'll be a good time to flip them. And as you can see, they look delicious, nice and golden brown. And when they're all ready, we're going to make some pita sandwiches with sliced romaine lettuce, sliced onion, and if I had tomato, of course tomato would have been wonderful on there. And I made a tahini sauce with just tahini, garlic, lemon, salt, pepper. If you have a little cayenne, you can put it in there, and some water to thin it out, and salt. Did I say salt? And salt, of course. Okay, I just took my first bite. It's delicious. With some romaine and cilantro, onion, and I made a tahini sauce. So this is the homemade pita with the falafel. It's awesome. So there we are, our pita and falafel sandwich. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and check back in next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.